Hi there, Darswell Rogers, and we're to the fifth video that we have on the topic of higher profits through improved employee performance. We had our basic introductory video. We had a video discussing communications and the need to communicate well with your staff as a means of capturing their mind's eye and getting them to be in the same place that you want them to be in terms of performance and what you need them to do in terms of your business. We talked about training and how it's not realistic to expect people to perform at a very high level unless they're absolutely clear as to what it is that you need them to do and that they're well trained on it. We talked about the need for clear management processes. The clarity of management is a core component to whether or not people are able to perform at a very high level. We went from that basic concept on down through talking about employee morale, pay, praise, and performance, and a number of other issues. And finally, we're to the topic that really is the differentiator between whether or not a business performs well over the long term or not. And that particular topic is having a commitment to continuous improvement in your business. This commitment is about taking your organization to a higher level. There is no substitute for the reality that you need to continue to evolve in terms of what you're doing. And here's three good questions that you need to ask yourselves on a continuous basis, which is, how are you doing? You ask your employees how you're doing, your suppliers, you ask your customers, and you ask yourself, how are we doing? What can we do better? The opportunities to make improvements are generally fairly subtle. Sometimes you'll end up with a radical revelation, but frequently they're subtle, and most innovation is simply taking old ideas and putting them together in a different way or a new way. So it's not like you've come up with some revolutionary new widget or something that completely is what they call a paradigm shift in the way the marketplace works. You just need small incremental improvements that allows you to stay on the cutting edge while looking for that possible game changer that's sitting out there. Always the who in the marketplace is doing it better is something that you have to ask. And not only just ask the question, but you want to spend time looking at who else is in the marketplace doing things. One of the great mistakes I find that business owners make frequently is they choose not to spend any time looking at their competitors. They either feel that they are the cutting edge player in the marketplace, and for some reason they believe that continues to happen over the long term, or they just don't like the idea of giving their competitors any kind of credit for doing something right. These are major mistakes, and there are no major companies that succeed over the long term without looking at what their competitors are doing. You need to have a very healthy dose of paranoia in your business. You need to be looking over your shoulder and wondering who's doing what, who's going to take my customers away from me. The reality is that when you entered the marketplace in your business, regardless of how old your business was, there were competitors, and you took customers from them. It's reasonable to assume that there's someone out there looking to take your customer, and they're not sitting around, and so you can't afford to sit around and just be comfortable in terms of how you go about thinking about your business. So taking your business to a higher level really is about continually asking yourself, how can I do things differently or better? Here's a very important concept that a lot of businesses don't seem to understand, which is that you need to view your people as an investment. Stephen R. Covey made the point in his book, The Eighth Habit, that the way our accounting systems are constructed today, people are listed as an expense on the income statement. Well, the key point that you need to appreciate is that people is how you make money in business. It's through your people is how you make money in business. And so it's really important that you are prepared to invest in your people. You need to invest your time in them, and you need to invest your financial resources in them, be it for training, be it for time, be it for acknowledgments of great things that they've done, compensation. You need to have all of the key elements or components together in terms of thinking through, how do I take my people to the next level? Because when you take your people to the next level, that gives you one great opportunity to take your business to the next level. So it's important that you view your people as an investment. Organizations evolve over time, and it is incredibly important that you realize that this evolution is a natural order of things, no different than as human beings, we go through a period of evolution. All companies go through a period of evolution, and what you really need to ask is, where does your company sit in that evolutionary process? There are four key stages that take place in the evolution of a business. They are called forming, storming, norming, and performing. And I've put this graph down here, and I want to give you some basic concepts of what I'm talking about. The forming stage, or the formation period, is when you come together to, in effect, attempt to define who you are, bring the correct resources together. The storming period is when there's a lot of I'll call it conflict or discussion or conversation around how you're going to go about doing what you're doing. If you go back to one of the earlier videos, I talked about when I ran an insurance business, I hired 50 people in a 12-month period from 12 different organizations. And we all knew what our primary goal was, but we needed to move our goal from what I call an interstate size path down to something significantly narrower. And so moving from everyone's thought processes being broad to very narrow and clear, that is a core component of the storming process. Once you have finally kind of agreed on what the path is, you then need to figure out how to work together as a team, how to bring that organization together. That's where your communication comes together. That's when you've agreed on what you have to do and the training comes together. And you pull all the clear management processes come together. When those pieces and those components finally gel, then you move from what we call norming to truly performing. And so a typical business will look something like this. You'll in this process. So this is the forming period, this is the storming period, this is the norming period, and then a norming period, and then you're going to perform over here. And the performance is when you really take off. Once you've reached this point right here, there tends to be a downturn or a flattening out, and you have to reform the business right here. And then you take it through this process again, a forming, storming, norming, and then you perform. And so you need to ask yourself, where is your company within the life cycle of form, storm, norm, or perform? And understand that this is a continual process that takes place throughout the entire life of your company. The companies that really fail and stagnate, they get to a certain period and they never ask themselves, how can I do it better? And so this particular line stays flat. In reality, it begins to dip down because somebody's always competitively going to be trying to take your lunch. So standing still actually is going backwards. It's really important to appreciate and understand the true dynamics of where your organization is. If you embody the notion and communicate to everyone and exhibit in your personal behavior and in your approach to education that you want things to be better in the future for you and for the people that work for you. If you communicated that to them, that there's an evolutionary process here of getting better, of taking on new challenges, that's what inspires people to want to work for you. That's what inspires and brings about pride in organizations. You make sure that they're well trained. You have incredible consistency in terms of what you're trying to do from a management point of view, and you keep that commitment, that absolute commitment to wanting to be better tomorrow, and you will have a successful organization. I hope you have come to appreciate the information that I have offered here. I got to tell you that this is the sort of stuff that really excites me. I believe that there's a tremendous opportunity for managers across the board to learn so much. You know, when I started running an insurance operation, I had never really managed more than 3 or 4 people at a time, and I went from managing 3 or 4 people to managing 50 in such a short period of time that I came to realize that there's some real opportunities for companies, for businesses, for entrepreneurs to take their organizations and do great things with them. I encourage you to come to the rmcstrategies.com website. If you have not already done so, please sign up for the videos. We're going to have a lot more videos. We're going to have a lot more written blogs, and we've got some training coming down the pike. This is Darzor Rogers, and please remember the first rule of business, which is that the success of a business is based on the people running the company. So that's incumbent upon you to become better in running your business.